Right, thank you, Chair. Yes, this is a very, very important issue, unfortunately very topical. So this is something that basically interests all of us. In the drafting of the opinion, obviously I was restricted by its size, and I couldn't include all the information and all the ideas and all the important points I wanted to include, such as, for example, stressing the large number of children crossing the Mediterranean, the importance of rapid and full transposition of the common European asylum system, reinforcing the mandate of EASO, Frontex and Operation Triton. Therefore, if I couldn't go through the door, I will go through the window, and I will be tabling amendments to complement these measures which have been proposed. Being the Petition Committee, my main focus was on the number of petitions which were received by EU citizens. I had to take those, obviously, into account. And basically, I focused on 4 points, on 4 important points. Petitioners, understandably so, expressed the shock at the tragic loss in the Mediterranean Sea, which has become really a cemetery for these people. And given the scale of these recent tragedies and alarming increase in irregular arrivals, and that's at sea, the draft opinion recommends that Europe and Member States can no longer merely observe the situation and need to proactively engage, provide strong political leadership and ownership, and need to fully endorse the Commission agenda on migration. The second point I concentrated upon is the shortcomings in the implementation of European asylum and migration acquis and fundamental rights. Again, here the draft opinion recommends that actions taken by the European Union need to be regularly monitored and enhanced. In addition, EU asylum policy needs to be based on respect of human rights and dignity, international standards and the values on which the EU is built. And I am also recommending that Member States need to adopt similar policies and practices, always respecting human rights and dignity, and the Member States need to improve the application of the common basic principles for immigrant integration policy. The third point I concentrated upon is the ineffectiveness and unfairness of the existing Dublin system. The existing solutions are unsustainable and ineffective, and the Dublin system puts a disproportionate burden on certain Member States, especially those on the periphery, and this has to be addressed immediately. The fourth point I concentrated upon is the lack of comprehensive EU migration policy. The draft opinion actually welcomes the Commission's commitment to reinforce the migration policy and adopt a strategic European agenda on migration. Now it is the new path for Europe towards fair sharing of responsibility and solidarity. However, this path is still full of rocks and hurdles, which is delaying the process. So Europe still is in dire need of a comprehensive European migration and asylum policy based again on respect of human rights and dignity and values upon which the European Union is built. We have to look forward and we have to plan and we have to be prepared. And I feel that Europe and Member States need to be better prepared for the future migration. And at the moment there is a lot of data being collected by different agencies, by NGOs, national authorities, etc. But there isn't a common way how to share this data. So therefore, in my opinion, I am calling for the creation of an EU migration data management mechanism in order to provide regular assessment reports, coordinate data, which is very, very important, strengthen consistency planning and crisis management. That way we can actually utilise all the information, all the intelligence to be able to see what we can really do. Last but not least, I know we're constrained for time, so I'm really trying to be brief here. We have to realise that this will not go away very soon, and we have to plan to have a long-term solution for this, and we have to address the roots of migration. And we have to ensure that progress and full implementation of readmission agreements, but also address why there is this exodus from certain countries to the European Union. Without the right combination of EU tools and cooperation between member states, Europe will continue to firefight and we will not really find a lasting, sustainable solution. So I'm looking forward to a very constructive dialogue with my shadows, and I'm sure we will achieve a very, very important and sustainable report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to ask if the shadows would like to take the floor. I have from the EPP, Mr. Malino.
Thank you. Of course, the topic is actually quite painful for some of the countries, maybe for everybody, but especially for the countries that are due to kind of disproportionate pressure from immigration. I find the text that has been proposed by Ms. Mizzi very convincing, very balanced, and that's why actually I personally have only 3 substantial, I would say,